The Chicago Times Herald race is known as the first motor race to be held in America. The race took place in Chicago on Thanksgiving Day on the 28th of November 1895. The race was the idea of H. Colsatt, the publisher of the Chicago Times Herald. Just like the previous year in Paris, the newspaper thought that organizing a motor race was a good way to sell more copies, as well as promoting the growing automotive industry. On the 9th of July, the newspaper announced the race, with a $5,000 prize for the winner. The race was originally planned to run from Chicago to Milwaukee. However, the poor road conditions at the time meant that the track had to be shortened to 54 miles from Chicago to Evanston and back. It was the very early days of the automotive industry, with the first cars being built in the US only 2 years before the race. It was such a new industry that the newspaper editors couldn't agree on what to call this competition that they were promoting, and eventually, after asking the readers to come up with a name, they settled with Motorcycle Race. The competition was originally scheduled for the 2nd of November, but only a handful of cars turned up, so the organizers decided to move the event to Thanksgiving Day 3 weeks later. Out of the around 80 entrants, only 6 showed up at the start of the race, with the miserable weather conditions, cold and snowing, being the main reason for such a poor turn-up. Out of the 6 vehicles, only 4 had 4 wheels. 3 Benz cars, creation of Carl Benz, and Frank Dureya's motorized wagon. The race began at 8:55 in the morning. Cars encountered several issues, like icy roads and freezing conditions. After the start, one of the Benz cars struck a horse and was forced to retire, whereas an electric-powered car had to retire as well because its battery died due to the extreme cold. At the halfway point in the race, once past Evanston and on the way back to Chicago, the Dureya took the lead and kept it till the finish, just under 8 hours from the start of the race. The second and last finisher was the Benz entered by Oscar Mueller, who reached Chicago about 90 minutes later at an average speed of 7 miles an hour. The other 4 vehicles didn't make it back. There's no question that the success of the Chicago Times Herald race helped massively and accelerated the growth of the automotive industry in the US. Within 3 years of the race, there were around 50 car companies operating in the United States, quickly turning the automotive industry into one of the main industries in the country to this day.